Good morning and welcome to our annual Honor Cord ceremony, and it's so nice to see all of you here on this gorgeous day. I'm Mary Gadd, I'm the principal of Cheshire High School, and again, thank you for joining us this morning. We're fortunate to have our superintendent, Dr. Jeffrey Solon, here with us this morning, and our assistant superintendent, Mrs. Marlene Solano, to help celebrate all of you and your wonderful academic achievements. While I have the title of principal, I'm part of a team of administrators from whom you'll hear in a bit, but I'd like to acknowledge them now, and when I do, and they love me for this, could you please stand? Mrs. Pels, assistant principal. Dr. Reed, assistant principal. Mr. Tartarelli, assistant principal. And Mr. Steve Trefone, our outgoing athletic director here. And Mrs. Marie Broadway, who is our secondary supervisor of special education, but she couldn't be with us this morning. So at this time, I would like to, yes? At this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Dan Tartarelli to acknowledge our scholar athletes, leaders, and arts awards recipients.
Good morning. It is my pleasure to recognize the following students. These students received their awards at banquets held this spring. I ask the students to stand and be recognized. CIAC Scholar Athletes Rocco Ocone-Kraus and Julia Tyler. SCC Scholar Leaders Anna Pochu and Asya Tarabar. CIAC Visual and Performing Arts Leaders Leah Anderson and Monica Galley. At this time, Assistant Principal Maureen Reed will read the qualifications for those students receiving honor cords and presidential certificates today.
Good morning and welcome and congratulations to everyone. Students who will receive honor cords today in English, mathematics, science, social studies, and world language have met all of the following criteria. Maintained an academic average of 4.3 or better in the specific subject area, successfully completed 4 years of study in the subject area and in world language, year 4 of the same language, selected and endorsed by 2 members of the department. A student will be awarded an honor cord in business education, career and technology education, fine and performing arts, art, music, and drama departments if the student has met all of the following criteria. Maintained an academic average of 3.7 or better in at least 4 department classes, demonstrated exemplary character, leadership, and service, selected and endorsed by 2 members of the department. A student will be awarded an honor cord in health and physical education if the student has met all of the following criteria. Maintained an academic average of 4.0 in the subject area, demonstrated exemplary character, leadership, and service, selected and endorsed by 2 members of the department, successfully completed 4 components of the state physical fitness assessment. The President's Award for Educational Excellence certificate will be presented to students exiting high school who earn a grade point average of 4.0 or higher. At this point in the ceremony, I ask the department chairs to please gather your honor cords and assemble alphabetically by department in front of the stage. Students, when the name of the first person in your row is called, I ask the entire row to stand, exit to your right, and proceed to the department chair to receive your honor cord and presidential certificate. At the end of the row, proceed to Dr. Gadd and Dr. Solon, who will congratulate you. As the row clears, return back to your seats. Assistant Principal Dan Tartarelli and the Counseling Department Chair, Michelle Bertucci, will now come to the podium to read the names of each student and the honor cords and presidential certificate they are to be awarded. Please hold your applause until the end.
Music, Social Studies, Presidential Certificate. Adrian Ali, Business. Leah Anderson, Art. Anirudh Arunachawam, English, Math, Social Studies, Presidential Certificate. Connor Atwater, Business. Isabel Azula, English, Social Studies, Latin, Presidential Certificate. Julia Bailey, PE Health, Spanish, Presidential Certificate. Luke Bonnick, Business. Ryan Barberi, PE Health. Krishna Benzi, Business, English, Math, Social Studies, Presidential Certificate. Siddhant Bhardwaj, English, Social Studies, Presidential Certificate. Mia Blaze, Social Studies, Italian, Presidential Certificate. Jeremy Bobrath, Business. Zoe Bobrath, Career and Technical Education, Social Studies, Presidential Certificate. William Borland, English, Math, Science, Social Studies, German, Presidential Certificate. Luca Boris Baba, Business, English, Music, PE Health, Science, Social Studies, Presidential Certificate. Jordan Boucher, Latin. Catherine Bradley, Business, Career and Technical Education. Elizabeth Braun, English, Math, PE Health, Science, Social Studies, Spanish, Presidential Certificate. Audrey Bronson, English, PE Health, Science, Social Studies, Presidential Certificate. Colin Brown, Business, PE Health. Taya Bunton, Career and Technical Education. Caitlin Cannon, Music. Amber Kasner, Art, Career and Technical Education, English, German, Presidential Certificate. Isabella Cerrito, Business, Career and Technical Education.
Brady Chan, English, Social Studies, Latin, Presidential Certificate. Ryan Chasen, English, Math, Music, Science, Social Studies, Latin, Presidential Certificate. Jonathan Chen, English, Math, Science, Social Studies, Latin, Presidential Certificate. Zachariah Chen, Business, Career and Technical Education, English, Math, PE Health, Science, Social Studies, French, Presidential Certificate. Claudia Chong, Career and Technical Education, PE Health, Science, Social Studies, German, Presidential Certificate. June Chung, Social Studies. Jordan Chimber, Business, English, Math, Science, Social Studies, French, Presidential Certificate. Caitlin Cianki, Career and Technical Education. Timothy Constantine, Art, PE Health, Presidential Certificate. Courtney Cronin, Business, English, Social Studies, Latin, Presidential Certificate. Caitlin Daly, Business, English, Math, Science, Social Studies, Presidential Certificate. Teresa De Meniches, Italian. Michael DeJoseph, Business, PE Health. Clara Dempsey, PE Health. Anthony DiPaolo, Business, PE Health, Social Studies, Presidential Certificate. Mallory DiPaolo, English. Stephanie Dickinson, English, Math, Music, Science, French, Presidential Certificate. Matt Demick, Career and Technical Education, PE Health. Samir Dishnicha, Career and Technical Education. Anthony DeStanti, Business, PE Health, Social Studies, Spanish, Presidential Certificate.
Marco Donato, Career and Technical Education. Aiden Downey, Business. Vanessa Doobie, Business. Rachel Dubois, Music. Emily Duguay, Business. Sarah Dwyer, English, Presidential Certificate. Alexander Fang, English, Math, PE Health, Science, Social Studies, Presidential Certificate. Jamie Fasano, Career and Technical Education. Denver Fell, Presidential Certificate. Demir. Julia Fielding, Business, English, Math, Music, Social Studies, Latin, Presidential Certificate. Taylor Fitzgerald, English, PE Health, Science, Social Studies, Presidential Certificate. Pierce Flynn, Career and Technical Education. Madeline Forlenza, Business, English, Math, Science, Social Studies, Spanish, Presidential Certificate. Corden Forselius, Business, English, Social Studies, Presidential Certificate. Brad Fowler, Career and Technical Education. Allie Fox, English, Science, Social Studies, Italian, Presidential Certificate. Joseph Franco, Career and Technical Education. William Gaudet, Business. Leah Gentile, Business, English, Social Studies, Presidential Certificate. Andrew Gershfeld, Business, Math, Spanish, Presidential Certificate. Monica Galley, English, Math, Music, Science, Social Studies, Spanish, Presidential Certificate. Julia Ann Rose Cordano, Business, English, Science, Social Studies, Presidential Certificate. Rachel Goldstein, Music, Social Studies, Presidential Certificate.
Sam Gravel, Business, English, Math, PE Health, Science, Social Studies, Latin, Presidential Certificate. Caitlin Gray, Business, Career and Technical Education. Cullen Veldring, Career and Technical Education, English, PE Health, Science, Social Studies, Spanish, Presidential Certificate. Casey Gronbach, Music, German, Presidential Certificate. Emma Grove, English, Math, PE Health, Science, Social Studies, Spanish, Presidential Certificate. Grayson Gersey, Business. Sumaya Galati, Business. Simony Canchard, Art. Liam Harkins, Business. Ava Harris, business. Emery Hendon, business. Michael Herscovici, English, music, social studies, German, presidential certificate. Sean Horton, math, music, Spanish, presidential certificate. Austin Hugh, English, math, science, social studies, presidential certificate. Ildi Hoxa, business, PE health, presidential certificate. Catherine Huang, business, English, math, science, social studies, Latin, presidential certificate. Julia Hummel, English, music, PE health, social studies, German, presidential certificate. Elise Hurlbert, PE health, presidential certificate. Anna Hurlbert, career and technical education, English, PE health, presidential certificate. Emma Ingerson, career and technical education. Matthew Arazi, business, PE health. Jake Isaacson, business, music, presidential certificate. Matthew Jockler, English, math, music, science, Spanish, presidential certificate.
Evan Joachim, English, music, PE health, social studies, German, presidential certificate. Sophia Johnston, English, math, French, presidential certificate. Kyla Madison Camp, PE health. Elizabeth Clem, PE health. David Coe, English, math, music, science, social studies, Spanish, presidential certificate. Tyler Kochel, business. Shavika Kumar, English, math, music, science, social studies, Spanish, presidential certificate. Charles Kurtz, PE health. Audrey Lawler, English, math, music, science, social studies, Latin, presidential certificate. Noah Levine, career and technical education. Vincent Lin, business. Vicky Liu, English, presidential certificate. Kayla Lundquist, music, theater. Julia Lohman, social studies, German. Helene Lopez, English, math, PE health, science, social studies, Spanish, presidential certificate. Ty Lopez, music. William Lovelace, business, career and technical education. Alexandra Lucas, Spanish, presidential certificate. Emma Lucina, career and technical education. Dennis Lulo, business. Gabby Magbreeze, business. Anish Mandava, business, math, science, social studies, presidential certificate. Jeremiah Mann, business, English, social studies, Latin, presidential certificate. Malukan Marchand, business, PE health.
Timothy Constantine, Art, PE Health, Presidential Certificate. Judith Markella, Business. Marissa Markowski, Business. Alexis Martin, Business, Career and Technical Education. Ava Medikowski, Business. Hannah Mayer, Career and Technical Education, Music and Theater. Miles Mayer, Music. Catherine McCardle, Business, English, Music, Science, Latin, Presidential Certificate. Aiden McCauley, Art, English, Math, Science, Social Studies, Spanish, Presidential Certificate. Alexa McPadden, Business, Music. Hunter Meyer, Business. Andrew Milano, Science, Social Studies, Spanish, Presidential Certificate. Elizabeth Miller, Business, German, Presidential Certificate. Aaron Miller, Business. Jason Miller, Career and Technical Education. Kayla Mingo, English, Math, Music, PE Health, Social Studies, Spanish, Presidential Certificate. Haley Mola, Career and Technical Education. Jordy Monroe, Business, PE Health, Spanish, Presidential Certificate. Falante Moore, PE Health. Samantha Mudry, Career and Technical Education. Julia Marco, Career and Technical Education. Ryan Murphy, Business, Latin, Presidential Certificate. Trevor Nielsen, Career and Technical Education, Social Studies, Presidential Certificate. Andrew Norcross, Business, Social Studies, Presidential Certificate. Aaron Northway, English, Social Studies, Latin, Presidential Certificate. Elena O'Donnell, PE Health. Christopher O'Neill, Career and Technical Education, PE Health.
Rocco Ocon Kraus, English, Math, PE Health, Social Studies, Italian, Presidential Certificate. Lauren Open, English, Math, Music, Science, Social Studies, French, Presidential Certificate. Alexandra Palladino, Career and Technical Education. Catherine Paulna, English, Social Studies, Presidential Certificate. Daniel Parent, Business, Career and Technical Education, English, Social Studies, Spanish, Presidential Certificate. Unsa Park, Business, English, Social Studies, French, Presidential Certificate. Kobe Paul, Career and Technical Education, PE Health. Amelia Perlini, Business. Lauren Perines, English, Music, Social Studies, Latin, Presidential Certificate. Anna Pochu, English, Math, Science, Social Studies, German, Presidential Certificate. Avery Petrala, Career and Technical Education, English, Math, PE Health, Science, Social Studies, Spanish, Presidential Certificate. Ryan Rajan, Business, Science, Social Studies, Spanish, Presidential Certificate. Gigi Ronaldo, Career and Technical Education. Carly Rachi, English, Math, Social Studies, Latin, Presidential Certificate. Ireland Richard, Business, English, Social Studies, Presidential Certificate. Caitlin Rivera, Art. Joshua Rivera, PE Health. Marissa Rivera, Art, English, Social Studies. Martin Roberge, Business, Music. Patrick Roberge, English, Music, Social Studies, Presidential Certificate. Noah Rockoff, Business, English, PE Health, Social Studies, Presidential Certificate. Emily Roden, English, Social Studies, Presidential Certificate.
Megan Rossi, Art, English, Math, Science, Social Studies, Spanish, Presidential Certificate. Justin Rua, Music, Presidential Certificate. Lauren Samella, Business, Career and Technical Education. Zachary Schitzner, English, Math, Music, Science, Social Studies, German, Presidential Certificate. Haley Shaw, English, Math, Music, Social Studies, German, Presidential Certificate. Madison Shaw, Business, Career and Technical Education, English, Math, Science, Social Studies, Presidential Certificate. Audrey Sheehan, Career and Technical Education, Theater, Presidential Certificate. Devin Sheehan, Business. Valerie Schlick, Career and Technical Education, English, Music, PE Health, Science, Social Studies, Presidential Certificate. Ava Simeon, Career and Technical Education. Christina Sorois, English, Music, Social Studies, French, Presidential Certificate. Liana Salizzi, English, Math, Music, Social Studies, German, Presidential Certificate. Sagarika Srinivasan, English, Math, Science, Social Studies, Spanish, Presidential Certificate. Nev Stanziel, PE Health, Italian, Presidential Certificate. Benjamin Strout, Business. Kevi Sulaleri, Business, Career and Technical Education, PE Health, Spanish, Presidential Certificate. Sophia Serrato, English, Science, Social Studies, Spanish, Presidential Certificate. Paige Sutilli, Career and Technical Education. Julia Schwartz, English, Social Studies, PE Health. Ima Talapan Pinedo, English, Music, Social Studies, Spanish, Presidential Certificate. Hannah Tao, Presidential Certificate.
Asya Tarabar, English, Math, Science, Social Studies, German, Presidential Certificate. Luke Temmel, Art, Career and Technical Education, German, Presidential Certificate. Benjamin Thompson, Business, PE Health. Gabriella Torrado, PE Health, Presidential Certificate. Blake Tricodina, Career and Technical Education. Dylan Tu, Business, English, Math, Spanish, Presidential Certificate. Juliana Tyler, Business, English, Math, Science, Social Studies, Spanish, Presidential Certificate. Catherine Ulicki, Career and Technical Education. Andrew Valley, Business, English, Social Studies, Presidential Certificate. Kylie Vasquez, Business, English, Math, Social Studies, Italian, Presidential Certificate. Arjun Vedere, Business, English, Math, Social Studies, Spanish, Presidential Certificate. Caroline Velover, Business, Presidential Certificate. Felicia Voom, Music. Felicia Vaughn. Catherine Vaughn, English, Math, Music, Science, Social Studies, German, Presidential Certificate. Anthony Votto, Business, English, Presidential Certificate. Erica Weibel, Career and Technical Education. Samantha Wong, English, Math, Music, Science, Social Studies, Spanish, Presidential Certificate. Silas Wang, English, Math, Music, PE Health, Social Studies, German, Presidential Certificate. Hannah Orzika, Presidential Certificate. Lily Watson, English, Math, Science, Social Studies, German, Presidential Certificate. Riley Whalen, Business. Riley Wilson, Career and Technical Education.
Kaylee Shee, English, Music, Social Studies, French, Presidential Certificate. Grace Chu, Music. Andrew Zhu, English, Math, Science, Social Studies, German, Presidential Certificate. Sophie Yale, Art. Clinta Ziyaku, English. Catherine Zara, Business, English, Math, Social Studies, Italian, Presidential Certificate. Jake Sowell, Business. Sahana Zogai, Math.
The honor cord for patience and grace to Tamara Zanzola in Spanish.
Okay, As with honor cords, so it goes with life. Sometimes things run perfectly, and sometimes there's a little bit of a glitch, but we learn as we go. So to all of you, congratulations again. Before we end our program, we do have two very, very special announcements. It is my pleasure to announce this year's valedictorian and salutatorian. No, the wrong start. Should I drag it out a little bit? Though our salutatorian is not able to attend this morning, it is my pleasure to announce that our salutatorian for the class of 2023 is Clyde D'Souza. And I do believe Mrs. D'Souza is in the audience. Can we embarrass you and have you stand and have us all give you a round of applause? And now it is my honor to announce the valedictorian for the class of 2023, Andrew Zhu. Will you and your parents please stand? Congratulations to each and every one of you on the awards you received today. These honor cords serve as a visual representation of your accomplishments, and this is quite an achievement, and you and your parents should feel justifiably proud. Wear them at graduation. I know some of you are going to be braiding them. Wear them at graduation with pride, and as we close out today, just one more round of applause for everyone. And your parents included. And I hope you will all join us in the Commons. We have some wonderful coffee and refreshments from Mrs. Daddy-O's patisserie class. So thank you all, and we'll see you up in the Commons.